Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today I'm going to be going back to a series that I started before Legion actually came out. I'm going to be doing a basic build of Veers and the Snowtroopers, except I'm not going to do lots of different builds because they don't really have that many options necessarily, or at least I don't feel like they have that many viable options for the Snowtroopers, for example. And by now you sort of know if you should take concussion grenades, etc., that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll just go straight onto Veers. What we'll do is we'll start with Veers and then we'll go to the Snowtroopers, and we'll just look through what I think is possibly okay to take. So this is Veers, and this is everything, pretty much everything he can take. Veers himself is 80 points. He's got Spotter 2, which you can choose up to 2 friendly units at range 1. They both gain an aim token. That's sort of like it's a supporting ability, and he can do it. He can be one of the friendly units. I'm fairly sure it says that in the rule book. So that's one question that I think came up when I went to a little event. He's got Inspire 1, which is very interesting because when he rallies, any other friendly unit within range 1 or 2 can remove a suppression token. Very useful actually when you've got Veers instead of, say, Vader, because obviously Vader's immune to panic. So this is going to help overall with your panic and suppression kind of thing. He's precise 1, so that instantly to me suggests there's no point taking targeting scopes because he only has 3 attack dice. His command cards, I'm fairly sure, don't go beyond 3, but yeah, even if they do, they're not necessarily a problem. His command cards are actually pretty decent. I'm not going to necessarily talk about them because this isn't a video about whether or not you should take Veers or Vader. And if you take both at the minute, then you would have to probably pick your favourites between them. But for now, I think we can just sort of not ignore them, but we don't have to give them too much attention. So targeting sculpt's probably ruled out by that precise 1. Sharpshooter 1, which reduces the defender's cover by 1, I actually do like. I just don't necessarily like his 3 white dice on his ranged attack. He's got an offensive surge to crit, which is quite nice. 5 wounds, 2 what's it called? Morale, the one where it's before he's panicked. And he can take, I'm not 100% sure what this upgrade's called. Is it the commanding upgrade? Anyway, it's the one with commanding presence and the esteemed leader. Commanding presence basically extends your range from 3 to 4 when giving orders. Perfectly reasonable. Esteemed leader gives you Guardian 1, which basically means every unit within, well, in this case, every unit within range 1 gets Guardian 1, which basically means that they can take a wound, a possible wound, for Veers instead of Veers himself. Basically keeping Veers alive in this case. Grappling hooks, we've already seen. Targeting skulls, we already know. Environmental gear, you gain unhindered. You can basically just move through difficult terrain without being affected by it. Overall, Veers is most effective because he's 80 points, whereas Darth Vader is ends up being 200 and odd when you've kitted him out. He himself, for me, isn't too impressive. And it's for that very reason why I personally would run something like this. And every other upgrade, you're giving a cheap character more and more points and increasing his points, and it sort of feels to me that his main goal is to be the cheap commander. So if I gave him everything, yeah, I can possibly keep him alive a little bit longer with esteemed leader, but if I'm supposed to be supporting my units with Veers, and yet they're sacrificing themselves for me, it sort of feels a little bit counterintuitive. So I would either, how are you going to play Veers? For me, I would try and keep him hidden, keep him behind maybe an ATST, keep him in cover, keep him issuing his orders at range 4, so he doesn't have to get that close to, he doesn't have to become that separated from. You can still give it to speeder bites and stuff like that. Obviously, his Spotter 2 and Inspire, they obviously work at very close ranges, range 1 or range 1 to 2, depending on what ability it is. So in this case, yeah, he's still a cheap commander. He's 90 points, pretty much half of Vader. Pretty much less than half of Vader. So English not necessarily my forte. He's got his long range commands also, he doesn't necessarily have to worry about that. He is easily killed. He's only got 5 wounds, which isn't great. But I mean, that's you get what you pay for kind of thing. And the reason I don't necessarily like him as a whole, I like him because he's cheap, but the reason I don't like him as a whole is because he is very weak offensively. He has 3 white dice with, yeah, he's got PS1, which is nice, but the 3 white dice, no, not a fan. I just don't like it. Like, it's very weak. And yeah, he's good because he frees up everybody else. He's not good in himself necessarily. Whereas I think when Leia comes out, it sort of feels like Leia's going to be a little bit more like capable, whereas Veers is the master tactician, as it says on his card. So that's for me. Veers, obviously, you know, if you want, you could put on grappling hooks. If you want, you can put on the esteemed leader. There's not necessarily a bad thing to that. Just keep in mind, like, what is your goal for running him, and try and stick with that. Then we'll just quickly, well, I say quickly, I don't know how quickly this has been, but we'll move on to the Snowtroopers. And obviously here you've got the standard stuff that troopers can take: grappling hooks, targeting scopes. I think have I missed one from the gear? Yeah, they could have had the one that environmental gear, but it's completely pointless, so I've just left that off the board. Both types of grenades, and then obviously the key ones here are they can either take the flame trooper or the ion snowtrooper, but we'll get onto that in a second. They are 4 points more expensive than normal stormtroopers. They're 48 points. Other than that, they're pretty much the same except for their ability, but it's the ability and the movement here that makes the difference. So they are only movement 1, whereas normal stormtroopers are movement 2. Normal stormtroopers get precise 1. These guys get steady, which basically allows them to move and then perform a free ranged attack action. You don't get 2 attacks, but you can move, and then shoot, or you can move, shoot, and then move again. So if you want to like pop out of cover, in and out of cover, that kind of thing. So they're like quite versatile in that sense, but they're also like quite slow at the same time. They're very interesting unit. But that's the Snowtroopers as a whole. The individual weapons, right? The one that I don't like is the Ion Snowtrooper. Now, I said I didn't like the Ion Trooper for the Rebel units, the Rebel Troopers, but it's slowly growing on me because I quite like Ion in the game, but there's not necessarily great ways of getting it into your list at the minute. And I certainly feel that at range 1 to 2, an exhaustible card with 2 white dice and a black dice, yeah, it's got impact 1, it's got ion 1, but the fact it's exhaustible, I don't rate it for 34 points. I don't necessarily think it's worth it for 34 points. I feel like a lot of people are just going to run these for the Flame Trooper, and that makes sense. Like, in this case, it makes 100% sense. The Flame Trooper obviously has Blast and Spray, so it's only range 1, but it will ignore cover. And Spray means that for every unit in the model every model in the unit you're attacking, you get a extra die. You get a dice for it, the black dice. So if you're attacking a unit of 6, you'll get 6 black dice just from the Flame Trooper. Situationally, very good. So I do like it. Completely, I have to say I do like it. So obviously you need to get him there, and the movement one could be an issue, but that's fine. But that's the Snowtrooper sort of as a whole. Grappling hooks, targeting scopes, yeah, maybe. And we'll get onto that in a second. But this is like, I'm slightly cut off here. I do apologise, but I couldn't bother remaking this. It's not the one build that I would rock. But I think the Flame Trooper over the Iron Trooper, that's fine. Whether or not you take an extra Snowtrooper or not, I think you probably would, because you're planning on getting whittled down before you get in close combat, like range 1. So I would probably always take the extra Snowtrooper. The Impact Grenade, very interesting, because of course, if you get in cover, if you get to a unit where, you're range 1 away from an enemy unit of Rebel Troopers, and there's 6 of them in that unit, well, you'll get 6 black dice from the flamethrower, but you'll get an extra 1. Like if you have a unit of 6, you'll get an extra black dice yourself for each of your normal troopers. So you could be rocking up 11 black dice, all ignoring cover. Pretty fantastic. And it's the same for maybe against the Airspeeder. If you've got impact grenades, then yeah, you got 5 normal guys all throwing their impact grenades, 5 black dice, but then you could still flamethrower it, get blast and ignore its inbuilt cover. So the combination of flame trooper and impact grenades, pretty damn good, I think. The targeting scopes, I've put on the targeting scopes here because what you can do, you can aim and then move and shoot. It really gives you a lot of it gives you decent firepower on the move, and it's only 6 points, but that would be the first thing I would drop if I was going to drop anything. So hopefully that explains this unit as a whole. I really like the combination of flame trooper and impact grenades. Perfect. There's no real point taking concussion grenades if you're rocking the flame trooper, because by the time if your flame trooper dies, you've only got one model anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But there's no point if you've got the flame trooper, there's no point having both of them negate cover, so you might as well just have the flame trooper negate the cover and then the impact grenades to give you the black dice. It's a really nice combo if you can get there, which I guess is part of the main problem with them. So you get that blast and impact, fine. You can aim, move and shoot with the targeting scopes, and you get the extra reroll as well, the extra dice. You can play that little peekaboo move that I call it. You can move, shoot, and then move, like if you're in cover, you can move out of cover, shoot, and then move back. Quite nice if you need to do it at any point. The cons, obviously 91 points for a fully decked out trooper unit is expensive, and I would probably deck it out, maybe not with the targeting scopes, but the other 3 I pretty much would rock. It's slow in a pinch is what I like. What I mean is, yeah, you can move, and the movement 1 times 2, so like a move and a move, is further than a movement 2. But obviously you can't do movement 2 and then movement 2. Now I do apologise to Katie, she's packing up boxes and she did say she would be quiet, but she's ripping up that tape and being very loud with it, so I do apologise if you can hear that. And it's not necessarily great at long range. You need to get into close combat with these guys. You need that black dice basically. At long range they're just normal trooper units and they're nothing special in that sense. It's all about getting in close combat, and not close combat, close quarters, and utilising, you know, the upgrades there. And I think I would like maybe rocking 1 unit of these at least, I think would be quite nice. And that's something that I'm probably going to try out in my next games. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously there's not an infinite number of builds, but there's quite a lot of different builds. You could take grappling hooks and stuff like that, but again, I always come back, like, if you have a plan for your unit, then make sure you try and play towards that like win condition kind of thing. So the win condition with these Snowtroopers is move them, keep moving, keep shooting, get in close combat, try and decimate a unit in close quarters, like range 1, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully, like, this is just you know, yeah. I try and it's like a basic build. What if you're a newbie and you want to rock these units? These 2 builds would be okay. They're not going to do you any harm. Obviously, I say play towards your win conditions, but we're not necessarily looking at the deployment areas and strategies and stuff like that really too much. I might do that possibly when the game's developed a little bit more. But for now, if you're rocking these builds, I don't think you're going to go massively wrong. If I've said anything incorrect, I'll correct it in the top pinned comment of the video. Sometimes when I'm doing these, I accidentally misspeak and I don't realise I've done it, and then it's a little bit awkward to edit out. But I think everything there should be okay. And yeah, as ever, do like and subscribe. I was going to say ding the bell. Ding the bell for those notifications. Nah, whatever. Have a most beautiful day, and goodbye. Bye, guys.